So this is a 1991 Ford Bronco. We're getting ready to put a new headliner in it, or to recover the existing headliner. You have to take out all the handles, visors, lights, and pretty much anything else that is holding the headliner up or somehow attached to it. You also have to take the moldings. There's a light, it's already out. Take these moldings that you see here on each side. You have to get them at least far enough down and out of the way to let the headliner down. Every vehicle is different. Most of them have clips of some kind. Sometimes you have to take the seat belt uh, out of the molding in order to get the molding to come down. You'll have coat hooks like you can see there up on the upper right that'll have to come off. Every vehicle is different. Pretty much anything that is screwed up holding the molding or the headliner up has got to come out. And this headliner is going to go right out the back door. Okay, now I've got it on the table here. I've already peeled the actual material off of the board. Foam back material comes with about a quarter of an inch of foam attached to the material. And what normally happens is that the material will separate from the foam and leave the foam attached to the board, except for in some spots. Like you can see the damage in some areas on this board. So if the foam is attached in most places, and you can tell sometimes it'll be just deteriorated, it'll just crumble when you touch it. If it's crumbly like that, you want to strip the whole board clean and keep it and make it smooth. If it just has some rough spots like this one, you want to use some different things, some sandpaper to kind of smooth out the transitions from one thing to the other, or sometimes you'll use some, like on this spot that you can see there, you're going to want to back the existing headliner board with some cardboard type or poster board material that will kind of hold it all together. So you just want to smooth over all the rough spots. And like I said, on a headliner where the foam is still attached pretty well, you really don't want to strip all of the foam off. You can, it's not necessary as long as you can smooth out the rough spots. It would take all day to strip this headliner, and you don't need to. It's just not necessary. It will look just as good without stripping the whole thing. So here I'm just using the sandpaper. Like I said, it's kind of a artistic talent kind of to smooth these areas. It just takes a little practice, though. You just be patient and just sand it up, and you'll want to use not a real fine grit sandpaper by any means. You know, you want to use something that's kind of rough. That spot there I just showed you, it's real weak right there, so I'm going to glue some. This is actually skirt inserting. It's a roll of skirt insert for furniture that we have. Its consistency is just a little bit softer than poster board. It works real well for backing headliner boards. And you're going to want to use a a good contact adhesive, spray type. We use what is actually a painter's pot, pressurized painter pot, and we use a weldwood contact adhesive. And anytime you're using that type of a glue, you want to spray both surfaces evenly and cover them, evenly and cover them good, but not real thick. And then allow them both to tack up, but not dry. It's really important to let them tack up, though. If you don't, they won't stick together. And those are just a bunch of little patches I'm gluing on there to repair the bad areas on the headliner. You have to pardon me in my videos. I was born with essential tremor, so I shake a bit sometimes, but it's not, I'm not hungover or anything. It's just the tremors. Hasn't stood in my way though. So here I go. I'm gonna start gluing the new headliner on. You just lay the headliner over the whole thing and fold it back halfway to. I will normally, glue one half of the headliner at a time. This is a real long headliner. I almost could have done this one in thirds, but usually a half at a time. And then when you start to lay the headliner down on it, you want to kind of hold it up with one hand, as I'm doing with my left hand there, and then rub it down with your right hand, or vice versa. And you don't want to rub it down until you have it where you want it. And you're not going to have a wrinkle or anything, because once you start rubbing the materials together, if you've got it glued right, it's not going to come back off easily. So you want to be sure that you've got all the air gaps out and no wrinkles going on or anything before you really start rubbing it. And then when you're done, you want to go ahead and rub the whole thing down real well to just ensure that you've got a good, evenly attached headliner that's not going to droop or sag down. That's the last thing you want to see, is a brand new headliner sagging. So then I'll go ahead and flip the headliner over and put glue on about the outside couple inches of the headliner board, and then on the material that's hanging over, and then trim it, leave about 2 inches hanging over. And I like to wrap the whole board all the way around and under a couple inches, and it just gives it a better finished look, and just it's a good habit. Keeps the headliner from coming attached at the edge or unattached at the edges. It's just a good habit to get into. And then trim out your holes. I always trim out the holes for the visors and lights and whatnot just a little bit smaller than they need to be, just in case. And then when you put the headliner back in, when you get it all up in there, the first thing you want to do when you have it in is make sure that you can get both the visors in. If you can get both visors in the right place, it's in the right spot. Thanks for watching.